Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the Gundam RX-78-2 Real Grade 2.0, and here he is. And I really like this guy, as I typically say all the time, but I really do. This is obviously, if you can't tell, and just to reiterate what I said before, this is the real grade, the 2.0 version. I don't own the 1.0 version, so I can't say for that. But the only other real grade that I do own is the Gundam Wing EW. Gundam Wing 0 EW, the one with the bird wings, and I have mixed opinion over that. I really loved building it, but it is a very sort of wishy-washy final model. But this guy is way cooler, way better. This 2.0 RX-78-2, and I really like it. Number one, I love the proportions of it. It just looks super, anime-esque. I am a bit of a fan of the suit being a bit more bigger, bulkier, to fit into the more machine-like look, the way the Master Grade 1.5 version, the Master Grade that I have looks. I'm a big fan of that look, but this look is very nice. The very anime accurate, or very anime proportions, very slim, very slender. I don't know where I put the box with all the other hands and everything, so we're just gonna have to deal with the trigger finger hands and the shield holding hands, and I don't have the beam effects for the beam saber, so we will just have to deal with him having to hold these, or I'll take the hands off when I show off the posability, because these are just ball joints, obviously, and they can just simply come out like that, and we'll just leave this hand off right now. But yeah, I really like this guy, and because the articulation is one of the main points of this model, we'll just jump right in. So the head, obviously, I absolutely love the head. I did not put any stickers on this guy, obviously, so his eyes are a little kind of dead with the shadow in there, but he has a double, it's not a ball joint. I think there might be a ball joint at the base of the neck and then a hinge. It's been a long time since I built this guy. There is a ball joint in the base of the neck and then just a hinge in the neck, so you can look up super far. If you want a flying pose, you can look down fairly far, like if he wants, you wouldn't have anything to scale with him because he's a 1/44 scale. Of course, he can rotate his head side to side. No, the ball joint is in the head and not the neck, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But just the detailing of him, like the head, the Vulcan guns, and then the vents on the sides, just looks really cool. I do love the fact that the V-fin is pointed, and you don't have to do anything to it. And then the head camera, I think it's called, that rear camera in the back, looks really nice. And even with with no panel lining, it's just super crisp. That's one thing I love about this model kit, is that the lines and everything are so crisp and so defined, like they're on the chest. So crisp, so defined that you really don't have to do any work to this kit. I obviously got the nub marks off and sanded them pretty good, but other than that, they are relatively hidden. A lot of these side panels, instead of being molded, I'll point at it with this, instead of being molded right there or something like that, or it would be right there, would be typical, right in between those two little panel line pieces. Instead of being right there, it's molded to the side of it, so it'd be molded on the edge. I think that actually yeah, you can see it, that actually is a dub mark right there. But a lot of the parts on this are molded on the inside edge. This inside edge, that inside edge, that, this edge, this face, and then that edge, they're molded onto that, so you can just snip it off like that, and then it's just gone. They engineered this guy super well to where you don't have to really sand very many parts, really just a couple like that, and I think maybe some on the backpack. I can't really tell, I just have to look around, maybe on those shoulder pieces, but really you don't need to do too much work to this guy to get him to look really nice. Like I said, even the panel lines are just defined and crisp enough that you really don't have to do any sort of panel lining yourself, at least to my eye and to my opinion or whatever. But The shoulder pads are a little bit annoying. They can, I think the Master Grade 3, no, I thought they could move forward. Maybe it's one of the other shoulder pads, but they can swivel, and then they can go out. And then his arm can go out that far, and then you can, his arm can go out that far, which is really good and really nice. But they, in my personal opinion, they are a little, like, finicky. He can move his arm. If you move that shoulder pad, you can get a full 360, and you do get this sort of more off-white color for some of these pieces, and then actual white to further break up the color. But we'll leave the abdomen for last. But that's what he can do with his arm. Just a basic bicep swivel, and then a basic regular elbow bend. Or nope, I completely forgot. It's been so long. I forgot that he had a double elbow bend, but has a double elbow bend. And then you can extend the wrists, or not really extend them, but extend them a little bit to where you can get some tilt, kind of like my Dagarn X model kit can do that, or by Kota Bagia. And then obviously he has a ball jointed wrist, so he can do whatever he wants with that ball joint. Then for the legs, they're a bit more basic, just fairly standard. I don't know if he has a dropping waist, but you do get a forward leg, and then a backwards leg, and then obviously outward movement. Have a thigh swivel, and then you have shifting armor in the knee, or on the kneecap, and then here on the upper leg you get some shifting armor, which is really, really cool, really, really fun. Always really like that. And then you have the ankle, which can obviously go back, and you get some more shifting armor. And then it can go forward, and then you have a swivel, and then the ankle guard can move, and then you have a nice articulated toe bend with some more shifting armor pieces. And I really like that. The legs are more towards that, like, shifting armor thing rather than articulation. Obviously he can kick back way really far, and then you add that, and you can, like, if you made the inner frame like silver, that would look really amazing. But the legs are much more basic than sort of like the arms. Like, you typically, at least the model kits that I have, don't have a double jointed elbow. They just have like a higher cut in the upper arm to be able to achieve that higher angle of movement. So yeah, I really like that. Now on to the best part of the kit that I think everyone sort of talked about when this guy came out, was the core fighter. He does have a core fighter, but he has obviously a waist swivel, which I would say is pretty standard, but you get an ab crunch. That's how far I've been able to get that. I've seen guys almost get more than that, but I've maybe never been able to figure it out or something. And now I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the core fighter out, because like I said, it's been so long that I really don't remember how to. Or maybe just pull it out. There, there it is. There's this little clip thingy that clips on over that little molded piece, that little molded tab, and then the core fighter is in here. And then you actually can transform it. I don't remember. Yeah, you can see transforming right there, and you don't have to really have any sort of parts forming, except for I think the landing gear is parts forming, but obviously for something this teeny tiny, you would probably want that. But yeah, I really like that. I always just keep the core. I just have the Master Grade. That's the only one that has the core fighter, and I just keep it in there in the torso of my Master Grade, because it's not that big a deal to me. It's just a little thing, and I think it goes that way, I'm pretty sure. If anything, we'll figure it out when he doesn't have his ab crunch anymore. But just puts that right there, and now, yeah, he has his ab crunch again, which is really, really awesome. And this build was very complex, was very long. It was quite long. But I really love the look of this kit. I think it would be really cool to see them reissue this kit without these little speckles to where you can see the inner frame, like just the gray pieces of the frame. I think that would be really, really awesome. If this kit got reissued with a solid color armor, like he was all white or all this like off-white and regular white, I think that'd be really, really cool. But this look really is really nice of this very highly detailed look. Makes him look like, the real grade should. Makes him look like a machine, more than he would. Like, I think if he was like a solid color like the high grades, he'd look kind of like a toy or action figure or a model kit. But this guy looks like a machine, even though I think he would really benefit from being a little bit wider, a little bit thicker, kind of like the master grade 1.5 version. With that, he would really look like a machine, but he looks like a machine now, and I really, really like that. He's just super cool, super fun. I wouldn't say because of his complexity, he's not really complex. There's just a lot to him. There's not really too many difficult steps to execute, from my memory, obviously. It's more of just a lot. It's just a very long process. I think this took me about the same time as maybe my master grade, or the second time I did the master grade. And that was without instructions, so obviously there was a bit of struggle there, but this guy, he definitely does have, it's more of a length thing. It's not really a complexity thing, like, where does this part particularly go, or where does that go? So I would say that he potentially could be a bad pick for a first model if you are willing to wait and willing to sit down and take time with it. I think a beginner could be able to get through this. It would be a bit more difficult than just a regular high grade, of course, and even like an entry grade especially, would take more time, have a bit more frustration, but I think this kit could be very doable for a beginner kit, to me at least, but especially for someone who's experienced and has gotten into these kits and have the 1.0, I think this is a very nice kit to own. Very, very fun, very, very cool. It's not, it is, I think, kind of expensive. I don't know now. I think I bought it for $30 to $40. That's how much it was like retailing for or whatever. I don't know about it now. But it is still a very nice kit. I am very happy that I own it. It looks very, very nice, very, very detailed. Love the articulation. The build was really good, really fun. Yeah, it's just a really fun kit. I really like it, and it is very rigid. It's very solid. Has some weight to it. It's not completely, lifeless per se. He's got some density. He's got some weight to him, and he's not just like super, super light. I do really like it. I'm a big fan of this kit. I do lean a bit more towards my Dagarn X Kotobukiya kit. Obviously, Bandai didn't make that. Kotobukiya did. And also some my older, like my Master Grade and my 90s Sandrock and Gundam Wing. I prefer those kits. They're nice, big, fun, just big, chunky kits. But this kit is still a lot of fun to put together. And for a modern kit, I really, really like it. It's a lot of fun. And he just looks amazing. And that's all I have to say is just he's such a fun, cool kit. I do wish he had more basic hands, like this hand is specifically a trigger finger hand. I wish it was more sort of general purpose to where you could just take the gun out and you don't have to leave it in, but there's still a lot of detail in the gun that you can just see. You don't have to panel line it, and same thing with this shield, which once again, very, very nice, very, very detailed, but I wish he just had a more neutral hand to grab it. I do like that little claw on the bottom that is, holding it more securely. So overall, Bandai knocked out of the park with this kit. Of course, I think this is for their 45th anniversary, like 45th anniversary of the franchise, which is awesome. Really, really love that. Mine, I've always had this trouble with all my RX-78-2s, is that they miss these little cap thingies. Like this one's missing, and then this one right here on the arm is missing, and I think on a couple of my other ones they're missing. It's not that big a deal to me, but if you're gonna get this guy or any RX-78 -2, I would watch out for that and maybe glue them if you really care. I don't care that much, so they just stay like the way they are. But yeah, really like this guy. He's a lot of fun, especially to build, like most model kits. Super fun to build, super fun to play with and pose. And yeah, that's what I have to say. So till next time, see ya.